Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, and this is Thursday Morning Live. Glad that you're back again this week, and we're in for another exciting episode. Before I get started, I just want to remind you that coming up in October 17th and 18th, is the Multifamily Summit. You know, this is my annual event that I do virtually. This year, again, I'm going to have 20 speakers and panelists that will blow your mind. Here's what I'm telling people right now is buckle up for this year's event. I have some big names. We're going to talk about it a little bit more on the show this morning. I have a great guest. Very excited to have John Casmon back again. John and I have built a great relationship over the last few years, and you know, it's been a while since we connected, so who knows where this morning's conversation will go. Hey, if you're new to the show this morning, glad that you're here. Thank the person that invited you for sure, because I think we're going to explore some things that will help open your mind a little bit. If you're following us on social media, please like this, love us. It just, you know, it helps the algorithm. If you're out on YouTube live this morning, smash that subscribe button, because we are always bringing good, new, relevant content to you. And then I would invite you, if you're a multifamily advocate and you love the business as much as myself and my guests do, then go over, join Facebook Unplugged, the multifamily, go join my Facebook group, Multifamily Unplugged, where every day we're bringing out new content, new ideas, new thoughts that might help you in a changing market or in a stable market to grow and scale your business. All right, let's jump in this morning. I'm going to bring my guest, John Casmon, in. John, good morning.
Mike, good morning, man. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I got a little tongue-tied there for a minute.
Happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah, boy, it's been a while. It's got to be at least a year since you and I have been on.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, man. It's good to see you. Looking good.
Yeah, thanks. You too. I've been watching your stuff lately. I'm kind of, intrigued. You've kind of been a little intense, I think, with talking to people and, you know, just really dialing in some fundamentals in that. It's been cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, kudos to the team, doing a great job, and we're always looking to strive and get better. And part of it is always understanding what people need. And I appreciate what you're doing. Right, you've got your summit coming up, and it's going to be a big event. I think you've got some great value for attendees. And I will say for me, I used to have our Midwest Real Estate Networking Summit. Lots of work and effort to go into these kind of events. And you know what it's like to pull something like this together, right? To get the speakers organized and everything. It's a labor of love, man. It's a labor of love to pull that thing together. So kudos to you and what you're bringing together here.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, and this year 5, and when I think back to year 1, and, a dozen people showed up, and last year we had over 100. It really starts to make you think, wow, maybe we're getting some traction with this. Because, for me, it's about helping people. If I have to say I have a mission around this, my mission around the summit is to deliver good, relevant content for where we're at in the market and where the market's going, and how to maneuver in that marketplace.
Yeah.
Hey, what have you been working on lately? What are you up to?
Well, I just got a call from a broker 10 minutes before you and I started this, and we unfortunately did not get a deal I was really interested in, kind of exactly the kind of product we're looking for, but had a great conversation with him about, the winning offer and maybe some things that we can tweak in our model and our assumptions there. But we're hunting for deals. I know a lot of people are a little concerned and cautious, but I think it's a great time to be out there looking for opportunities. So we're doing that. We do have another deal under contract that we're starting to work through right now and getting ready to introduce to investors in our network. But we're looking to scale. I think it's a great time to be active. I think you should be looking at twice as many deals, having 2 or 3 times as many investor conversations, and really starting to connect, because this is the first time in a long time where sellers are starting to get a little spooked. They've got Interest rates have been high now or higher now for a year. You have cap rates, which are expanding, which just means that they're not going to get as much money in return for the same NOI or the same operational performance that they would have got maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. So they're starting to finally realize, oh crap, I may have missed the peak opportunity to sell this asset. And if they need to hold longer, in some cases, the values are going down every day. So for
Right.
us as buyers, us as investors, there's going to be opportunity. The other factor that's coming into play is there's so much more supply coming online. So because there's more supply coming online and it is outpacing demand in many markets, that is also going to push down valuations of existing real estate. All that to say, for buyers, we're getting more leverage. So it's a great time to be active in the marketplace and look for deals and opportunities. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. So, last year we bought about 300 deals, or 300 units, I
I
should
was about
say.
to say, good
Yeah.
Lord, 300 deals, man, you are
All,
300 units.
all,
Got it.
yeah, all assumption deals under 4%, fixed
Okay.
rate, fixed rate debt that had, 7 to 8 years of runway left on them. So that was
Yeah.
great. But we just went to contract on a deal that we're at a 6.3 interest rate, fixed rate debt. And, the deal penciled. So they're out there. You just I think you gotta turn over enough rocks and open enough doors.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
here's something interesting though. I had Neil Bow on last week, and Neil made a comment, and you know how Neil is. He can be very pessimistic but very optimistic in his approach. And a year ago I had him on and he said, "No, multifamily's over, the golden days are over." And last week he said that the end of this year we're going to be at the bottom, which I thought was really an interesting comment, right? So I believe I'm in that camp. I've been in that camp with a number of people, just for the last year and a half, 2 years. I've been saying it's going to be a soft landing. We're going to come out of this pretty unscathed. Some operators are going to definitely be penalized, but I think it's a reset, right? The whole market shift is a reset.
Are you ready to skyrocket your investment portfolio and leave a legacy? Are you tired of inconsistent returns received in the stock market? Then it's time you take a look at alternative investment options like a passive investment in multifamily real estate. No tenants, trash, or toilets. Just a solid return on an annual investment, including quarterly returns along the way. These lower risk and secure assets are also a great hedge against inflation. If you want to hear more about these types of opportunities, email me directly to schedule a 15-minute consultation to see if you qualify. You can email me at mike@mycoreintentions.com.
It's interesting. I had when I initially got into the space, and I come from corporate America where projections, forecasting, all that was, the crux of what we did in the automotive space and in the agency world. I oversaw, our MSAs and PSAs with our clients. So I negotiated all that kind of stuff. And I will tell you, I really do not like to make predictions of what's going to happen. It doesn't matter. And
Right.
I think and the reason I say that is, as an investor, it's very easy to become paralyzed because you're trying to figure out what's going to happen, or you think the bottom's going to drop out, or the market's going to soften. And we hear terms like, oh, we want to keep dry powder on the sideline, or, hey, I'm going to wait for, the market conditions to change. Look, I think the best thing you can do is continue to educate yourself, to continue to analyze deals and opportunities, continue to talk to investors, continue to talk to brokers, and stay active. I'm not saying you got to buy right away, but stay true to your investing criteria, stay true to your own investing philosophy, learn to listen to other people, but take all those predictions and put them to the side. That's not what investors do, right? Investors don't speculate. Investors take the information they have, they put together a great business plan, and they go out and execute. So that's what I want you to focus on. Who knows what's going to happen? Love Neil. He's got so much great information. But again, when we talk to people and talk to these experts, sometimes we have to recognize that they're also in a different place than maybe where you're at. You
Yeah.
know, Neil can afford to sit on the sideline and wait 2-3 years and just see what happens, right? Because he's going to cherry pick. Same with the
Right.
Warren Buffetts and those big time investors. If that's not where you're at, if you don't have the ability to not work for 2 years and then randomly just start picking up deals when the market bottoms out, you shouldn't be thinking like that. You should be thinking about, all right, what kind of investments should I be making today? How do I protect my investments while still giving me the opportunity to grow and scale and to reach my own financial goals?
100%. Well spoken. That's for sure. Hey, so I'm excited. You're going to be back at the summit this year.
Yeah.
This is our fifth annual virtual summit, and this is probably the third or fourth time you're going to speak again. You're going to be on a panel this year, talking about raising capital. And why don't you give some insights around that, and what you think that conversation will be like?
Yeah, I'm excited to be back at this event. It's a phenomenal event, and you do a great job of bringing together a collective of individuals who have a wealth of knowledge and great experience. And speaking on raising capital, it's going to be great because the times have changed. A couple of years ago, people would have told you that, oh, just find the deal and the money will come, right? There's plenty of money just floating around out there. You and I know that's not exactly true, but the truth of the matter is it's harder to raise capital today than it was 2 years ago. So it does require more work, more effort, more conversations. And that's what we're going to get into. How do you stand out in a crowded environment? If you're a newer investor looking to break into this space, what do you need to do today that maybe you didn't have to do 2 years ago? So that'll be a great conversation. And if I can go back, Mike, I think one thing that's so critical for people is to really understand why it's important to attend events like this. I go back and think about my own beginning. And to give you context, I started off in corporate America. I had my W-2 job, and I worked at General Motors in Detroit back in 2007 through 2011. Okay. And I was there when we went through bankruptcy. I watched what happened to a lot of my peers who got let go. Now, I was fortunate enough and was spared and actually did okay. But that trepidation, anxiety, that never left me. And I knew at some point, corporate America might just say my time was up, right? And here I am updating resumes, trying to find new jobs. So I left, moved to Chicago. And when I moved to Chicago, I did so with the intention of starting to invest in real estate so I could take more control over my financial future. I started with a 2-unit, just had a house hack, right? Lived in 1 unit, rented out the other. And I was just a guy with a duplex. But from that, I really wanted to figure out how to scale. So I started attending events, started networking, going to RIAs. And it wasn't until I went to my first big conference that I really recognized how much more opportunity was out there. And it became real. I didn't think it was for guys like me, right? That was for the dudes who write books and do podcasts, which again, now I'm that guy, right? But that wasn't for me. I was just a dude with a duplex trying to figure out how to, buy more properties. But when you surround yourself with individuals who are playing this space, it makes it real. It breaks down those barriers. It makes it attainable and achievable. And I know my first big deal came from meeting people at a conference. I met these group of guys, had a great conversation. We went to dinner, had a great bond. And fast forward about 6 or 7 months later, they had an opportunity. We had a conversation and we ended up partnering on that deal. So you attend events like this because not only are you going to get great education, but you have the ability to make some phenomenal connections that can truly change the direction of your real estate investing and, more importantly, your financial future. So this is an event you don't want to miss. You're giving away tickets almost. I mean, the tickets are very inexpensive. So I implore people, you're going to have a chance to talk to, or at least to listen to guys like myself, Mike. You already mentioned Neil Bawa, Vina Jetty, Matt Faircloth. You have a wonderful lineup of some great expert speakers. And I implore people to get their tickets and join us for this event.
Yeah, John, thanks. I appreciate the kind words too. One of the things I've really tried to focus in on is my speakers from the beginning of the event, right? And I think that when I can put great speakers that are smarter than me and that can bring great content to a platform, that's what really makes the event more exciting. And plus, there you get the private Facebook group, and you have the ability to chat with other people. people think, oh, it's a virtual event, there's no networking. Well, the chat will be open, you'll be able to communicate back and forth with people. Last year, the chats going back and forth and the people that got to know each other was incredible. And I know that'll happen again this year. So, there's the education component, the networking component, and the ability to just really explore your future. And hey, John, listen, there's no geniuses in this business, right? It's only cycles. And I believe 100% we're going to come out of this cycle. And if you are getting into the business, position yourself in front of the next bull run. There's a redistribution of wealth that happens during this time.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, right? My whole thing is if you're active, you're constantly watching what's happening and you'll recognize the opportunities, but you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
And the way you get prepared is through education, is through networking. Those two things set you up, and that's exactly what you can get if you attend this event. So, it's phenomenal for me. I mean, to the point where events, virtual and live and in person, were so fundamental for me. I ended up launching my own meetup. I launched my own conference. I attended a ton of events. And it wasn't because I was the expert. It was because I was trying to learn too. I was bringing on super smart guests to teach me what they're doing, how they're doing this. How are you investing in different markets? How are you identifying the best places to invest? How are you scaling? How are you managing your team? How are you hiring and firing contractors and property managers? All the things we go through as real estate investors. And of course, how do you find and raise capital? What do I say? What do I not say? How do I pitch a deal? How do I get in front of the right people? So all these things are critical if you want to scale. And even if you have your own money today, at some point you're going to run out. That's just the nature of it, right? At some point you run out of your own money, and you can either stop and wait to save more money, which is what I was doing, or you can learn how to partner with other people, right? They call it 100%. OPM, other people's money. But if you can do that, now the world unlocks because you can scale. You're not limited based on your own bank account. You can find great deals, find great opportunities, and connect with other people. So that's a great skill to have, even if it's not the thing you specifically want to do. To find other people who have that skill is a great thing for you to grow. And again, networking, finding those people at events like your conference is going to be a great way for you to set yourself up for success.
100%. Hey, I want to circle back to the capital raise conversation real quick. You made a comment that it's a little different today than it was 2 years ago to raise capital. What's one thing, and I don't want you to give away a whole bag of cats right now because I'm going to save that for the summit, but what's one thing you're doing different today than you were doing 2 years ago to raise capital for your deals?
I think the biggest thing is, and just the simplest thing is, you have to have more conversations with people. Folks who may have been interested or wanted to invest 2 years ago, maybe are a little more skittish today, right? Maybe they're a little more cautious. Maybe folks who have invested with you are invested in different deals that are not panning out as well. So they're hesitant to reinvest in real estate. So in general, I just think there's a little less enthusiasm from an LP perspective. So you're going to have more conversations with people. I also believe that transparency, authenticity, character, all of that is just reigning true today. So if you 100%. Do have a deal that's not working as well, communicate, be transparent, talk to people, let them know what's going on, be available, don't hide. I've read horror stories of deals, I'm sure you have as well, where, operators are simply, just they're disappearing and investors have no idea what's going on. They can't get in touch with them. There's one fairly well-known person who has a fund, and I don't know if you're on social media, but there's one guy's got a fund. This other guy is also really big on social media. He's the biggest investor in the fund, and he is just going after this dude's neck, almost daily, but with good reason, because they have not made any distributions. They've pretty much not been communicating anything, and they believe the funds were misappropriated and not used correctly, and they're trying to get the attention of the SEC. It's a whole thing, right? Yeah. So don't be that guy.
Right.
Be accessible. Sometimes you're not going to like the answer that you got to give to investors, but they would rather hear the truth and the honesty, and again, talk to people who are going to be authentic, transparent, and demonstrate that character. Because ultimately, for me at least, this is about the long game, right? This is not about the next deal. This is about
Yeah.
where do we end up 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, the future we're trying to build. And that's the thing that our investors are looking for. They're looking to get financial freedom. They're looking to get more time control. They're looking to get more flexibility, and they're looking to take that control of their
Yep.
life. So looking at it from that lens, you're going to have little bumps and hiccups on that road to success, but you've got to maintain that high character throughout that process.
100%. Well spoken. John, we're kind of coming to the end. Tell people how they get in touch with you if they want to connect, talk to you about the business, get some insight. How do
Yeah.
people reach out to you?
Two things. The easiest thing is just go to our website. We've got some great content there, sample deal package and some other freebies. But you can go to casmoncapital.com. And if you have a specific question, want to reach out, feel free to email me. My email address is john, at casmoncapital.com.
I have two more questions. One
Yeah.
is, what are you reading these days? You have a
Ooh.
favorite book right now?
That's a great question. I just started a new book, like literally today. It's called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. So that was recommended to me by a couple different people. So I'm checking that one out now. I just finished, man, my phone's over there. I was trying to see. I do a lot of audiobooks because it's easier when I'm moving. Sometimes I don't have the time to just sit still and read.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
I like to listen when I'm driving or working out or something like that. I'll tell you the last book that really impacted me, like made me stop and process. Like that's how I know a book is really good, right? If I can read them, like, oh, that's cool, that's good, that's a good idea, that's great. Those are good books, right? I'm not discrediting those at all. But sometimes you read something that really makes you rethink everything. And the last book I read that did that to me was 10x is easier than 2x.
Ooh.
It really forced me to step back and say, maybe I'm working on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm focused on the wrong thing. Maybe I'm not even answering the right questions. So that book is excellent just because it really does force you to think about everything in your business. And I'm sure you're the same way, where we get into the flow as entrepreneurs and we're busy, we're trying to grow, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, but we don't step back and say, well, what's actually working? And what's the thing that has the potential to grow 10x as opposed to just doubling our efforts? Because 2x is just doubling the work, right? Hey, we raised, $1 million. Well, how do we raise $2 million? And that's what most people do. Hey, we raised $1 million. Let's shoot for 2 million. That's 100% growth, right? That's a huge goal for most people. To go and say, hey, we raised $1 million. How to raise 10 million? Well, most people be like, you're crazy. You only raise one, but you can't raise 10 million doing the same thing you did to raise 1 million. So it forces you to say, okay, if I were to raise 10 million, what do I need to eliminate? And then what do I need to really focus on and change so that we can set ourselves up to do that? So just little things like that, and again, no matter if you're raising money or if you are, whatever you're doing in your business, I just like the way the book forces you to think about how to truly achieve, exponential growth.
Awesome. Well spoken. Last question. In 60 seconds or less, what would you tell somebody who right now is thinking about buying a ticket to come to the summit as an attendee, whether they've been in the business a while or whether they're thinking about getting into real estate investing as an active or passive investor in the multifamily space?
I would ask what your real goals are. Are you happy with your current life? Like fully satisfied, everything is perfect? Or do you want more? If you want more, you got to invest. And your investment is a very small investment, in the grand scheme of things. The ability to connect with the kind of speakers you have, the kind of folks who are going to be at this event, over 100 attendees at this event, it's a small investment. But every day, you talk about books, right? There's another book called Atomic Habits. And every day, and they talk about in this book that every day we are making a deposit to the kind of person we are. And when you make an investment in yourself to become a real estate investor, well, what would real estate investors do? We would attend events. We would put in offers on deals. We would talk to brokers. We would talk to investors. That's what real estate investors do. Are you doing that? If you're not a real estate investor. You're pretending. You got to do these kind of things. So if this is what you want, if you want to buy properties, if you want to scale a portfolio, you have to do the things that real estate investors are doing. Neil Bawa, Matt Fairclough, myself, Vina Jetty, we're all going to be at this event. Why? Because that's what real estate investors do. We want to talk to our peers. We want to talk to folks who are, have less experience than us. We want to talk to folks who have more experience than us, so we can gather all this information and inform our own investing thesis. That's what you do to grow and scale, period. Stop overthinking it, buy the damn ticket, and I'll see you at the event.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Looking forward to you being there again this year. Looking forward to this year's summit. I appreciate your time this morning. I know that we can all get busy and things get out of control. So it's good to connect, at least even on this platform, right? So, hey, I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. Again, we're here every Thursday morning at 8:30 Central Time. And we're always bringing a great speaker, some good content, something that's going to help your mindset or scale your business, which you need the mindset to scale your business. So look forward to seeing you next week. And remember, go get registered for the Multifamily Summit. Go to multifamily24.com. The speakers will blow your mind this year. The content, the networking, the event process. You're going to enjoy yourself and learn a lot and grow.